Hey everybody, it is Jeff here. I was just thinking, I was just talking to my friend, and they got me thinking. And I always read the book The Dream Giver and stuff, and a lot of people have asked me what about my faith and my religion and things like that. And I always like to tell people what good leadership is and stuff. But maybe if I give a story of me, it might help a few people embrace why I sometimes feel the way I do, or why I do what I do. And why I'm always trying to tell people they matter, and don't give up. If you're at the bottom, it's a platform to launch yourself up. And I know not too many people are going to see this, so I'm not that worried about it. But they were asking me about religion and God and stuff like that, and how He's got a plan for all of us, and I get that, and I've always believed it. And the book The Dream Giver, it reminded me of when Ordinary, character in the book, uh, was at the desert. And when he got to the desert, there was nobody in front of him, nobody behind him. He's on this quest, and the dream giver being God and everything like that. However, when he was in the middle of the desert, he was going in circles, didn't see nothing, ran out of food, ran out of water, and he basically could not figure out. He felt he was deserted by the dream giver. He felt that they gave up on him. And for days, weeks, maybe even months, he was in the middle of this desert because he didn't know where he was going, and he just really got mad. And I know the book doesn't go that much into detail, but he basically asked the dream girl why. You told me to do all this stuff. You made all these promises to me. You sit there and you say you're there with me, and you're nowhere around. And here I am, hungry and I'm thirsty, and I don't know where I'm going, and there's no guides, and you're not with me. And it's like at my neediest time, you've abandoned me. And a lot of us get that way sometimes. We get to where we feel we're abandoned. We feel that nobody can understand. We feel that what we want is not happening. And that's the key. It's what we want. We're given what we're needed. But just because we want something doesn't mean that's our path. That doesn't mean that's where we're supposed to be going. And as Ordinary in the book found out, whenever he needed water, there was water. He found water. When he needed to eat, he found food. Now, granted, it wasn't in great supply. It was enough to make sure he could continue his mission, continue his journey, because that was part of it. And then he realized it wasn't what he wanted, but everything that he needed, he got. And so he was given everything he was told. He was. It's just we couldn't see it because it was in a different way of thinking. It was in a different way of looking at who the dream giver is, and who we are after. And I know some people, they think that spirituality and faith needs to fit in a nice little box with and it's not, because that's not. Everybody has a different mission. Everybody has a different goal. Everybody has a different journey they must be on, and he has paths cross a lot of times. And it goes back to Adam and Eve and everything. A lot of people, they think they're supposed to get somewhere. They're not getting anywhere after years. But if you go all the way back, we're made in pairs. However you want to look at the science or religion, we're made in pairs. We work better in pairs. Now, granted, some people disagree with me on this, and I understand. But it goes to my story. And my story is this, and I know a lot of people, they know, and I always said, if I tell people more of my stories, either on stage or on social media or something, I'd add a few other things that I didn't normally add. And one of the ones was when my mom died. I had a lot of friends from my church, a lot of family. There was a lot of people there. And I had people always tell me, Jeff, you can always count on me. We're like another mother to you. We're here for you. We understand you're going through and everything. And it's funny because it was only a couple months after my mom died that all those people that were, oh, they're going to be there, weren't. They were gone. They said what they needed to say, and then they disappeared. And I held on to that. I remember each one telling me that. I remember each one, and then all of a sudden things changed. And I didn't know the reason for it. I wanted to be one. I actually did want to be one of these people that, met the love of my life and settled down and have a family. But that was not in the works for me. That was not what God had planned out for me. And to this day, I still don't know. But I've always been given the water when I was thirsty. I've been given food. And then I realized that if I got what I wanted, not what I needed, there's a lot of people I wouldn't have been able to help or would not have been able to meet. If I took a different path from when my mom died, or if she didn't, my entire future would have been completely different. And who's to say that I would have been able to help anybody at all? And technically, that's from high school and everything else. I just got in there, and I was alone in my mind. I was alone. Yes, I had family and friends, but I felt like I was there by myself. And so between my junior and senior year, I joined the Army. Okay, no biggie. I went to boot camp during that summertime. Got back from boot camp, finished up high school, graduated, but I still had that emptiness feeling, and I didn't know where to go. I really, all I pretty much said was, "What's next?" I didn't say, give me this. I actually asked, "What's next?" And it was a really fun story, kind of like my Spanish stories with my Spanish teachers. But I got home one day and my phone rang, and it was the Marine Corps recruiter. I guess they didn't know I joined the Army. And I was going to work or whatever, and I was kind of ignoring them, putting them off a little bit. And finally, the recruiter, I don't know why I didn't catch on. I basically like, why would I come and sit? I was like, who is this? He's like, well, my name is Staff Sergeant Jansen. Like, what? The only reason why I went to talk to him was because of his name. He had 2 S's, mine only has 1. Like I said, we all don't know what our journey is. We all don't know why we're here. We just need to have the faith and the belief to do it. So I went over to talk with Staff Sergeant Jansen, and sure enough, it was the Marine Corps. I told him, look, I joined the National Guard and stuff like that. So that's okay. We'll take care of you. So I was like, okay, I'll think about it. I didn't know too much. Anyway, about 3 hours later, he goes, hey, we just got an opening. Can you go now by any chance? I'm like, now? What do you mean? Well, can you go now? I mean, it's a long shot. I mean, who's going to join the Marines and not tell anybody and go that moment? I had a decision to make very quickly. So I joined the Marine Corps. And the reason why I joined is because every time I saw the commercials with the knight in shining armor, every time I saw a Marine on TV, my heart rate would rise. It was just something in my gut felt I had to do. And by doing that, it put my social life on hold so that I could grow as a person. I didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was doing. I literally took faith. I took a leap of faith. And I joined. I have no regrets ever joining the Marine Corps. And then after I got out of the Marine Corps, I have a lot of people, say, yes, I went to college and stuff, and I still wasn't settling down. Even though I'm the one that wanted to settle down, I just kept going and going, new ideas, meeting new people, talking with people. I learned that I was able to help a lot of people along the ways. Now, it's nobody's business who I helped or why, and not even my own. But if I wouldn't have made certain choices in life or didn't have certain things put into my path, there are people that I would have never met, that I would never got to know. And one of them is my friend Kitty. Her name's Catherine Bolton. I forgot how old she was, but she was a taxi cab driver. And when I got in the Marine Corps, I met her entire family, her nieces, and they became part of my family. And later on, her nieces introduced me to a person that I'd date for several years. And, I would have never had those experiences. I would never have been over in the Mediterranean. I never would have been down to Panama. I never would have done the things I would have done if I didn't take a leap of faith. And then, kind of like ordinary, I sat there and be like, because as I was so mad several times. I'm one of those people that admit I argue with God. I fight him every step of the way. I basically call him every name in the book, and I tell him and everybody's like, "Oh, that's blasphemy." I'm like, "No, it's really not." Because I've always been given what I needed. Not what I wanted, but what I needed. When you look back, did you make it? Yeah. Now, how did that set me up for the next step of my life? And I learned if I didn't take these steps and they were out of order in any way, shape, or form, then the outcome would have been a lot more detrimental. It would have been a lot more crazy. It would not have been, I wouldn't have met some of the greatest people I know. I wouldn't be on social media like I am today. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't have met my buddy Rich, who brought me into a company I love. I never would have met people like Brian Carlos. But that goes back to me coming back home, not meeting some of the best friends I have today, because I wouldn't have joined the Marine Corps League. I wouldn't have met one of my best friends, Jesus, and his beautiful wife, Melissa. And everybody, it's like, okay, when's it my turn? But then I realized that I'm strong enough to get through things, but some of the people I've talked to, some of the people that I've met, and some of the people that they've asked me my opinion, my advice, that go down the path that I wanted, and they're very happy, would not have been able to hold up like I do. Because to me, it's like I just go through the routine sometimes, but it's not detrimental to my life. Like some people, they need some people in their lives right here, right now. When I tell people online all the time to, head up, don't give up. You keep going, keep going. In a way, I'm telling that to myself too, because there is an ending to our journeys. But once it's over, it's like a race. The race is not the starting line, and the race is not the finish line. It's what we do between the start and the finish that makes us who we are. It makes us know if we're first or last, or if we didn't even try at all. I was terrified of religion at one time. I mean, my family had me terrified of religion. But just like ordinary, every time I've needed a drink, it's always been there. Every time that I needed love in my life, it's been there. Every time I needed comforting, I found somebody great. And the life lessons I'm learning now to maybe pass on to my daughter, because I don't know who's strong enough to take the things I've taken, but I also know that there's people a lot stronger than me. But it boils down to this. Yeah, I'm still in the middle of that desert. Do I know that success is possible? Yes. Do I preach things all the time? Because I can only preach up to and talk about up to the point where I'm at right now. But one day, me knowing how strong I am in my mind and heart, when I do reach those areas, people can look back at what I did, not as, oh, look at him, as great as, but, if he can do it, I can do it too. If he was a loser that became a winner, I can do it too. If he was dead last but never gave up, then I can do it too. Someday I want my daughter to be able to look at me and know, life is a struggle, but those struggles are what make us who we are. Everything we do in life makes us who we are. It grooms us, it molds us. So God or dream giver, however you want to call it, there is a plan. And just because we don't know that plan doesn't mean there's not one. If you're going to walk across hot coals, if you've never done it before, it's going to burn you. But if you walk across hot coals after doing it for so long, you develop calluses on the bottom of your feet to where you no longer feel the heat. So things take time. If you're going to walk across those coals, you have to develop the calluses on the bottom of your feet, just like my life, just like your life and everybody else's. You have to develop the skill set, the mindset for the path that you're on, and know that whatever the path is, you will always be given the tools you need. Maybe not the tools you want, but the tools you need. Lottery winners all the time win the lottery, and they wanted to win the lottery. They won the lottery, and now they're broke because they didn't learn to develop the finances. They didn't learn the skill set on how to properly save and invest. If I'm going to go run a marathon, I'm going to practice up to it. You don't just take somebody that's never run a marathon before and put them right in the middle of a marathon. It's the build up to the race. And the race itself is between the start and the finish. Everything that happens is going to be in the middle. Because when the race is done, it's over. The glory is over. Whatever you're at. Just being able to say that you participated is better than winning. Because we all have a calling. There is a purpose. And like ordinary in the middle of the desert, I don't see my purpose. But I do know, with hope and with faith and the things that I believe in, I know there's a way out. And I know I'll get there. It's like driving in South Dakota. The road never ends. Oh my gosh, how long does this road go? I can't see any signs of this stopping anytime soon. You'll be one long straightaway for hours. And you're just like, oh, does this road ever go? Of course it will end. Of course you're going to turn off eventually. Of course you're going to get to your destination. But we forget sometimes to have that faith in order to get there. Not just faith in God, but faith and belief in yourself. Belief in knowing that you won't give up until you're dead. You won't give up no matter what. You won't stop. Not this, well, when I get tired, I'll stop. Or, oh my, no. You just keep going. And do not look back. Don't regret anything in your past. Forgive people from your past and forgive yourself. But hindsight looking back, if anything, my life were to have changed, I would not have had all the adventures I had. I wouldn't have the most beautiful little girl in the whole world. It could have been a lot worse for me. But I was out of water and food years and years. But I always ate. I always drank. And by me being who I am, I'm hoping maybe that because I did not take what I wanted in life, because it wasn't time, maybe I was able to give it to somebody else who needed it. We must never give up our faith. We must never give up on hope. We've got to believe in God and ourselves just as much. And that makes all the difference in the world. Because like I said, whatever you're doing today is to prepare you for the journey you're going to take tomorrow. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just means there's a bigger objective for you to overcome. And the more failures you have, the better you'll be. Because success is only one word stacked on many, many failures. So, anyway, you all have a great Saturday. Hope you're all having a great night tonight, and I will talk with everybody soon. And remember, believe in yourself. Because like I said, sometimes not even I believe in myself. That's when we have the strength of our friends and family. Talk to everybody later.